What is up, Galaxians? Welcome to another live episode of the Galaxy CDs, Rocks, and Flips Reseller Talk podcast. For any of you who might be new here, my name is Ryan, and I am a full-time reseller, part-time YouTuber, and podcaster working out of my home here in the greater Cincinnati area. And this channel is all about the flip life. So today's show, in addition to just some general reselling chat, I'm going to show you how I set up my combined shipping discount rules for those instances where a customer makes multiple purchases by adding items to their cart, as they should, so that you're not having to refund shipping. So if you're here and you're in the chat, feel free to ask any questions as I kind of walk through this. Speaking of the chat, let me jump in here right now. Media Picker, I'm here, but I'm not here. I got you. Totally understand. Vintage memory, so need this lesson. Thank you. I hope it's helpful. There is going to be a part where I'm not sure I'm going to be able to help you. It depends on whether or not you use business policies or not. So I use them, so there's some stuff I can't see that you might have a different view. So I'll do what I can to help you with this process. Anna Jameson, hello, glad to be here learning more about eBay. Hopefully I can help you. And Lord Jake Ryan, hey there, Ryan. Hey there, Ryan, back at you. If anybody could in the chat, if you were here last week, you know I had some difficulties with the audio feed. My mixer died, essentially. I do have a new one. If somebody could just comment and let me know that you can hear me okay and that it sounds all right. I've been messing around with this for a couple of days now, trying to get this thing set up. And I'm not completely convinced I've got it figured out, but you can let me know if you would in the chat. With that being said, let's take a look at these shipping discounts. So I'm just going to go straight to the source and kind of walk through how eBay says to do this, and then kind of show you at the various stages the things that you're looking for to make those settings. So offering shipping discounts can encourage buyers to add more of your items to their purchase. The key thing to remember in all of this is, number one, it's not foolproof. A customer needs to add items to their shopping cart. Customers who, I have this happen probably 2 or 3 times a week, where customers will buy 2 or 3 items, but they'll do them in individual transactions, and this will not help with that. So this only really works when the customer adds items to a shopping cart and then purchases them all at once. Boy, that's a mouthful. Real quick, sounds great. Sounds great. You're good. Okay, perfect. Outstanding. I appreciate the feedback. So anyway, you can set this up to automatically apply a discount to the shipping cost when they buy these items, or you can do carrier-specific discounts, which I don't use. There is also a way to set these up as promotional tools. I'm not going to get into that today, but if you wanted to set up a promotion where, say, a customer, they spend $75 and they get free shipping, that's something you could do on the promotional side. This is more for kind of the permanent, regular purchases. Customer buys multiple items and gets a combined shipping discount. So what happens with eBay right now is, by default, it adds all your shipping costs together. So I'm a bookseller. I'll take the example of, I've got 3 books that are less than £1 a piece. So the shipping charge is $4.13. What eBay does, if a customer adds those 3 items to their cart, is it adds those 3 $4.13 charges together and charges the customer the total, which is $12.39. Your actual shipping is only going to be $5.61, and then you're stuck having to do the refund. This process, what I did was set up a rule that allowed those things to be combined. So hopefully that will help you with this. How they work. You can offer shipping discounts to buyers who buy more than 1 item, but first you need to opt in by offering combined shipping. You can then set up the rules that automatically apply to the shipping cost. So the first thing you need to do is, on the shipping preferences page, select Edit beside Allow Combined Payments and Shipping, and then choose a time period during which you're willing to combine purchases and select Save. So I'm going to go to the other screen here. I'm going to switch this view so maybe you can see this a little better. So if you don't remember how to get here, just click on your name and go to Account Settings, and it will take you to this main screen. We're going to go down here to Shipping Preferences. We want to open that up, and we want to go down here to where it says Allow Combined Payments and Shipping, Combined Payments, and you want to click on Edit. You want to make sure this box is checked, so you allow buyers to send one combined payment for all items purchased, and then you select your time period. It allows, the minimum you can allow is 3 days. You can allow up to 30 days. I'm not trying to wait 30 days to get paid, so I selected just 3 days. There is more info here. It says buyers can pay for multiple items at the same time with one payment. When they check out, you must accept combined payments to offer shipping discounts. So you've got to have this checked. Combined shipping discount apply only to items listed in the currency you select, which is pretty standard. And if you offer a shipping discount for additional items, changing the currency does not change the amount charged. So just be aware of that. When you've got that set, click Save, and you're good to go for that part of this. There are then two kinds of shipping rules that you can set up. If you do flat rate shipping, you can set rules for that. If you do calculated shipping, which is what I do, you can set rules for that. So for flat rate shipping, where all buyers pay the same amount, you can apply two different types of rules. You can add a fixed amount for each additional item purchased. So the example they use is the shipping cost on the first item is $5. You could choose to charge just $2 for each additional item in the purchase. Or you could choose to subtract an amount from the actual shipping charge for each additional item. So, for instance, if it was $5 for each item, you could choose to deduct $1 from the second item and make it $4. That's the example that they use. Again, to create this shipping rule, you'll go into your shipping preferences pages, select Edit beside Flat Shipping Rule, and then from the drop-down menu, select how you want to do it. So again, we're in Shipping Preferences. I'm going to go back over here. I'm going to go down to where it says Flat Shipping Rule, and again, just select Edit. And here you can choose how you want to do it. So click the drop down. If you don't do flat rate shipping, you don't have to do this at all, or you could just not offer it if you don't want to. You can add an additional amount for each item or subtract an additional amount for each item. I don't really have any flat rate shipping set up on my account, but I went ahead and created this rule anyway, where it just adds $2 to the item. You can select free shipping if you want that additional item to be free. And you can add a shipping profile if you wanted to do that. I do not. I have shipping profiles already set up separately. And again, you can collect here for more info. Combine items into one package, ship with one flat shipping cost, charge the buyers for the item with the highest shipping cost, then add or subtract the additional cost. So that's key. Remember that it always starts with the most expensive shipping charge and then adds the fee. So you're not going to be in a situation where a customer orders something and it starts with the lowest shipping charge and you end up losing money on shipping. And again, just hit save. I don't actually want to do that. Let me just cancel here. All right, so that is how you would set up for flat rate shipping. Calculated shipping, which is what I use, it kind of works the same way. This is where obviously a customer pays a rate based on the actual size and weight of the package. You can automatically combine all the weights in one package. For example, again, like the books I used at the beginning, a buyer purchases 3 items that weigh 4 pounds each. You set up a rule that charges shipping for a single 12-pound package. It automatically combines the weights of the items in one package and subtracts a weight in ounces. For example, if a buyer purchases 3 items that weigh 4 pounds each, you can set up a rule that combines the items into one 12-pound package and then automatically deducts 16 ounces from the weight. You would want to do that if you think you've fudged the weights a little bit when you put in the weights in your listings. I weigh everything. I'm a nerd. So I weigh everything in advance, so I know exactly what my weights are going to be. So this works really well, again, especially for like media sellers where there is a huge amount of difference. The only thing to bear in mind here is you may have noticed this talks about weight, but it does not talk about size. So if you ship larger items that you could get into dimensional weight, bigger packages, bigger boxes, where the cost of the shipping is going to be higher because the package is too big, this one could potentially probably get you in some trouble because all it does is it adds the raw weights together. It doesn't account for the size of the box. So keep that in mind. Again, to create these rules, you'll go to your shipping preferences page and select edit, and then you can select the various options. So again, we're going to back over here, go down to calculated shipping rule and edit. I have already selected combine all weights because I ship 95% of my stuff with media mail. So weights is fine for me. You can combine all weights and subtract an amount. I don't want to do that. I've got my weights correct. Again, you can look at more info. It combines all the weights, charges buyers for the item with the highest shipping weight first, and then adds or subtracts the additional weight for each item. So again, if you've got one big heavy book, it's going to start with that and then add the additional weights into it. I will caution you, there are times where it doesn't work quite right. I've noticed that, for instance, say 2 6-ounce books that total less than 1 pound should still be $4.13 media mail shipping. For some reason, eBay only charges $4.12 on that combined package. I don't know why it does that. It's only a penny. I'm not that stressed about it, but it sometimes it's a wee bit off. So just be aware of that. You can create more rules to specify shipping costs for each additional item. You can add a handling cost. If you want to do that, you can specify a handling cost for each order or for each item. So if you want to account for the extra box or bubble mailers, here's where you would add that in. I do not add handling costs to any of my stuff. The costs of my materials are part of my cost of doing business, so I don't do that. Save that, and that is now ready to go. You can also do a promotional shipping rule. I don't do these. You can see I have it not specified. If you wanted to do that, you could do, again, minimum purchase price for a combined payment, minimum purchase price for free shipping, minimum number of items purchased, and so on, maximum shipping cost for a single combined payment order. I don't use those, but that is also available to you if you want to do that. The last one here is one that is a bit of a controversy at the moment, a shipping discount settings. This is the one that eBay is automatically switching people over, supposedly. I charge the standard rates without a discount. In my case, media rate does not get a discount, so I have very few items that would qualify for this anyway, but you'll want to keep an eye on that because eBay will be changing that. If you do not want to pass that savings along to the customer, you'll want to leave that as standard rates without discount. So that gets your rules set up. I'm going to go back into the chat here real quick and see if there are any questions on any of that. Yeah, that cubic foot gets me. Have to take a large box and cut it down, but it takes more time, so I'm probably better off paying the extra couple of dollars. Yeah, that can be a problem, and time is money. Absolutely. I believe this is only for people who have a store subscription. I won't swear to that. I don't have a non-store subscribed account, so I can't look at that. So you'd have to go in and check to see if you can get into this. You should be able to get into these selling discounts, shipping discounts from your account settings. Good morning, Rebel. Good to see you. And it looks like that's it on there. So the next thing that you need to do is to get these things applied to your listings. This is where it's going to be a little difficult for me to show you. If you have business policies set up, it is pretty straightforward. If you don't, it's a little bit more complicated. So what they say is to apply a shipping discount rule when listing an item, use the advanced listing tool. When you go to the shipping section, select apply my promotional shipping rule. So you're listing an individual item. There is a checkbox that you could check. I don't have that checkbox because I use business policies. So I just have to select one of my business policies. But that should be on your screen. The other thing that you need to do, of course, is for all of your existing listings, you need to apply that rule as well. Again, with business policies, it's pretty straightforward. It's literally going to be one click. But with individual items that do not have business policies, you need to go to your active listings, select revise next to the listings. So select individual listings that you want to adjust. And in the shipping section, apply my promotional shipping rule. So for those of you who are not using business policies, this may be a bit of a cumbersome process to get all of your old listings updated to allow for combined shipping. If If you're on business policies, however, it's pretty simple. So again, we're going to go over, select on our account settings. We want to go to business policies. And you can see I have a handful of shipping policies set up. I have my calculated media mail, calculated ground, no, and a couple of other ones that I really very rarely use. But if you open the policy up, it will allow you to edit it. And you can see here about halfway down after it, when you're in your US shipping, there is a box for apply my calculated shipping rule. As long as that box is checked, all of your listings, new and old, that use this business policy will have your new shipping rule applied. So business policies are your friend. Makes it super, super easy. One box to check and everything. All of your existing listings update because they use this business policy, and all of your new ones, when you select this business policy, will have that rule applied. So that is easy peasy. Let me know if you're using business policies. I know there are some folks who do not, but they make editing large numbers of listings really, really simple. If it's not possible without a store, do you recommend that I refund the difference to the buyer? That is an individual choice. I almost always do if it's more than like 50 cents kind of deal. Like I had one today where I had an item that when I weighed it, I wrap everything in a newsprint before I put it in the bubble mailer. I had an item that when I initially listed it, it weighed like 15.7 ounces. And I was afraid that when I wrapped it, it was going to go into the 2-pound rate. So I put it in as 1 pound, 1 ounce. As it turned out, I was able to ship it at the 1 pound rate. The customer paid the 2 pound rate, so an extra 74 cents or whatever. I did not. It's not worth my time and trouble to refund that kind of amount. So I did not do that. But in a case where a customer buys multiple items, and like my initial example where it was almost $7, again, this is how I do it. Your mileage may vary, but I think that's the right thing to do, and I think it's a good customer service. You can build repeat business, I think, by doing those sorts of things, by saying, hey, you overpaid for shipping. Here's the difference. Thank you for your order, and just be done with it. So that's how I would handle it. Anybody else that's in the chat can feel free to comment there as well. Business policies make life easier. Yes, absolutely. Initially, there were some issues. You may recall, gosh, maybe a year ago, I was really fighting with eBay over the business policies because it was creating a lot of just strange, like duplicate policies. An item would go on sale and you'd try to edit it and it would create a new business policy. And at one point I had 3 or 4 pages worth of business policies. I finally got it whittled down to just that one page that I just showed you there, and it has been amazing. I initially did not have this combined shipping rule set up, and since I've done that and added it in, I mean, the business policies have just been terrific. I love them. So that is essentially how you do it. Again, it's not foolproof. It relies on the customer doing the right thing. They have to add the items to their cart. If they don't, it will not work. Other areas where it can be problematic, a customer that makes offers or that you send offers to, if there are multiple items involved in that, sometimes eBay will combine them, sometimes they won't. I had one the other day, a customer made offers on 5 items. It charged him for 1 item individually and the other 4 combined on one order. So I was still in a place where I had to do a partial refund for that 1 item. So it is not by any stretch of the imagination a 100% foolproof system, but it should help reduce the number of times that you have to go in and do that when a customer makes multiple purchases. So you can let me know what you think of any of that. Was that helpful? Is there anything, if you're here in the chat or watching this on a replay, you can let me know in the comments if there's something you'd like me to go back over. I can revisit this. For those of you who are here live, we can do it right now. For those of you who are here later, we can revisit this on another live at a later time. So let me know if that was helpful. It saves you a bunch of time if you get, because I get 3, 4, 5 multiple item purchases a week. And only 1 or 2 of those do I have to go in and do anything with. So it's super helpful. And it's once you get it applied, again, especially if you're using business policies, it is pretty easy. I'm thinking of the downside of offering the refund after the fact is that I'm paying the eBay fee based on the total that the seller paid. And to that point, I do keep the 30 cent transaction fee that eBay charges. The other 13%, whatever, I'm not sweating that little bit. But if a customer makes, say, 3 individual purchases and I want to combine the shipping and I want to give them a refund, I will keep that 60 cents that they paid, the 30 cents for the 2 extra transactions, because that's a fee that I paid to eBay, essentially because the customer did not use the shopping cart. And I don't feel like I have to refund that fee because I've already been charged that. So I will keep that 30-cent fee. Again, you can choose to do with your business what you want, but yeah, I would keep that fee. I don't refund that. So while we're waiting, if there's any more questions in the chat, what do we got here? Bayou Repair Guy. Hello. Thank you for joining. You may have seen, if you're following me over on Instagram, or anybody over on Instagram who's a reseller, Mercari made an announcement yesterday that was quite fun. They are going back to their old return policy. How exciting is that? I was not super pressed about it when they changed it. You may remember the episode I did, whatever it was, 6 weeks ago now, where I talked about it. I've sold 12 or 1,300 items on Mercari and have never had a return there, so I wasn't really sweating it. But people in some categories, clothing and electronics, where fraud is prevalent and rent-to-wear kind of things happen, were really upset when Mercari made the change to their return policy. If you're not a Mercari seller, essentially what it was previously was it was a fairly seller-friendly return policy. The item had to essentially be not as described in some way, had to have arrived not working or broken or damaged, or it was not as represented in the listing before Mercari would approve a return. With the change that they made 6 weeks ago, they went to, you could return an item within the 3-day window for any reason you wanted to. Didn't like it, didn't want it, didn't need it, whatever it was, you could return it. And sellers were leaving Mercari in droves over that situation. The whole point of Mercari going fee-free was to attract more sellers. So as I talked about at the time, I thought the thing might end up being a wash. You might attract some new sellers, but you were going to lose a whole bunch of sellers with that return policy. Yesterday, they announced that as of, I believe it's May 22nd, they are going to return to their original return policy, which is really, really good news. 2 cancellation requests this morning on which platform? I'm curious. Only thing I do, I'm 45. Not going on Instagram. I've got a lot of friends that are not on Instagram either. I don't blame you. For what it's worth, I'm 58. I'm not a teenage girl. I'm not on Instagram either. But it is more for this show than for anything else. For promotion type stuff is really the only reason I'm there. And I'm a fan of trains. I follow a lot of people who post pictures of trains. So there's a odd bit of stuff for you. Bonanza, Etsy, and eBay are my top 3 places. I did sell on Bonanza. I've talked about that for a while. When they made their changes to how they charge for shipping, me and my 2 sales a month abandoned Bonanza, but I do very well over on Etsy as well. I don't resell, manufacture, so I don't take any or return. Yeah. So, yeah. No, that makes sense. If you're a manufacturer and it's your own stuff, it's a totally different situation. Even within the reselling community, you'll see a broad variety of opinions on returns. I, for my part, accept returns on eBay. My policy is free returns within 30 days. And I get maybe 2 returns a quarter. I just don't get a lot of returns. I've talked about it previously on this show. You can't eliminate them, obviously, but you can really reduce the number of returns if you're really thorough with your listings. Lots of pictures, good descriptions, do the right things up front, and you can really cut down on the amount of returns. Again, some categories are just more susceptible to returns. Clothing is a big one. Clothing and shoes, probably. People just send that stuff back like crazy because they don't pay attention to the sizes or things don't fit right or whatever. It's messy. I don't. That's why I don't sell clothes very often. Hats is about as far as I will go. Playroom, hello. Welcome to the show. eBay. So did you happen to notice, I talked about this on actually the last episode, the cancellation requests, were they because of the customer had found a better deal? And did you see the ability in that case to make an offer to keep that sale? That was something that got announced pretty quietly about a week ago, that you now have an opportunity if a customer is requesting a cancellation because of a price situation to match the price and keep the sale. I haven't listed as no returns accepted, but I'm still forced to accept about 5 to 10 returns a month on eBay. Yeah. eBay is almost always going to side with the customer in the case of returns. If you select no returns accepted, that will eliminate some returns because people know that you just don't take them, but there's always going to be somebody that's going to push and they'll file a spurious claim against you that the item was not as described or whatever in order to force eBay to accept the return, and they almost always will, which is one of the reasons when I decided I wanted to be a top-rated plus seller, I didn't have a problem with accepting free 30-day returns because I knew eBay was going to side with the customer anyway. Things are very unique, kits to repair control boards, but what I think happens is people are intoxicated and they think getting a control board, even though it says this is, I assume it's something else, but you got cut off there. Hey, are they Heathkit items? I sell a lot of old, I find vintage like Heathkit owner's manuals, and I do really, really well for those. There's a BOLO tip for you. If you're out looking around and you see old like Heathkit owners and builders manuals, those things are pretty good. Only shows parts that come in and it clearly says it's not a control board. Yeah. So again, people, God love them. They don't always read the descriptions. They don't always look at the pictures. I had a guy the other day that asked me for a picture of a book, and the thing that he wanted the picture of was literally the 5th picture in my listing. So I just sent him a quick message and said, please scroll over to see the additional photos. That photo is already there. Carl, the Lazy Reseller, thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you for doing the podcast. Makes my drive to source enjoyable. I appreciate that very much. I actually listen to a lot of podcasts as well when I'm out sourcing, when I don't have the music going. Actually stated on the photo, this is not a control board. This is a kit to repair a control board. Yeah, it's people are something else. So that's what's going on over there. Does anybody have any additional questions or comments while we're still here? Any other questions on the shipping thing that we kind of looked at today? Again, I think offering combined shipping is helpful for you. It's helpful for the customer. It is a time saver and a money saver for everyone involved. Let me know in the comments, do any of you charge the handling fee? We talked about, as I was going through that I do not charge any kind of handling fee regardless of how many items a customer purchases. Handling them is part of my job, so I don't charge a handling fee. Let me know if you do in the chat or in the comments below. That is about all I've got for today, unless people have additional questions. No, I don't. I don't either. I feel like it's part of what we're supposed to be doing. Have about 4 of those every month. Yeah, I'm in a category where there just aren't a lot of returns. It's hard to mess up a book. It is what it is. It's pictured there. Even if they don't read everything, usually I end up being safe. Upper ante on eBay, don't charge handling fee because I get the eBay discount, but I think now that their shipping rules changed, I may. Yes, if I've heard a lot of people say that. So if you're going to go ahead with that and pass that discount along to the customer, adding a handling charge is one way to get back some of your materials costs, but more importantly, as you mentioned earlier, the additional fees that you've paid on the shipping that you used to be able to recoup a little bit of money from because you were getting the discount, not the customer. If I use calculating shipping, I could see having a handling fee. Yeah, again, especially in my case where media mail shipping does not get any kind of a discount. So when a book is £1 and it's $4.13, the customer's paying $4.13. I'm paying $4.13 to the post office, but I also have the whatever it is, 13, 14, 15% fee that eBay got that comes out of that, plus the cost of my mailers and all the rest of it. So I can see where a handling fee could make sense. Again, I have budgeted that into my cost of doing business, so I have not added a handling fee. If I was somebody who was on the old calculated shipping where I was passing where I was keeping that discount and now I'm going to pass it along to the customer, like Opera Annie said, I probably would consider adding a handling fee in. My sales are crap lately, Playroom says. I'm sorry to hear that. I will say eBay the last couple of weeks for me has been a little bit soft. Normally, I'm anywhere from, say, 85 to 95 transactions a week on eBay. In the last couple of weeks, that's been in the high 60s and low 70s. I've been fortunate because I sell on multiple platforms over the last couple of weeks. 2 weeks ago, Mercari and Etsy were both fantastic. Last week, Mercari wasn't super busy, but I had 2 big sales over there, and Etsy was just off the chain. So my total, like gross sales dollars, has been pretty consistent, but it's varied where it's coming from. So if you're not cross-listing to multiple platforms, that would be something probably to consider. If all of your eggs are in the eBay basket, that can really be scary when they get glitchy. Not to mention just when things get slow over there, it can really be tough. We buy in such a large quantity, packing materials plus the ancillary to go inside the package along with our logo causes $1 a package. Yeah, it's not a ton of money, but again, it is a cost of doing business. And for smaller resellers, that dollar can add up pretty quickly over time. If you're, like me, selling out of my basement, I'm a one-man show here, that can get expensive. I charge a flat rate on all my orders, which is slightly above the media mail rate. Yes, and the only reason I don't do that, I've talked about this before on this show. I used to do free shipping, but when USPS announced they were going to do these twice yearly price increases, it just got to be too much from an administrative point of view for me to keep track of. And that's when I switched over to calculated shipping. If you're using a flat rate rule, you can just go in and edit your rule. If you're charging $5 or whatever it is, you can bump it up to $5.50 to account for the difference, and then it applies to all your listings. So that works if you're doing flat rate. But yeah, it can be a lot of work. Using speech to text. Okay, that makes sense. Because I thought it was probably Heathkit on that other one. I have not tried eBid. Anybody else in the chat can comment. I have heard of it, but I have not used it. I get a discount on the eBay fees because I donate a percentage to charity. I donate annually to them anyway, so this is a win-win for me. Yes, very, very cool. I know a lot of folks that do contribute through eBay to charity organizations, which is a really worthwhile thing. And again, you get a bit of a discount on your fees. I kind of rely on the top rated plus discount, which is 10% off my fees. My fees are still obscene, but again, to be fair, as I've talked about on this show, I could not open galaxycds.com and pay to advertise the site and do the level of business that I'm able to do through a platform like eBay for anywhere near the cost. So it is an absolute win. It can be frustrating to work with eBay. They're not always super transparent and the fees can be out of control. And if you're not participating in some of their extra promotional stuff, like the promoted listings and the offsite ads, it can affect your sales quite a bit. Made some good sales comparable to Etsy. You can pay $70 for a lifetime membership and pay very low to no listing fees on most things. So there you go. That might be another option for people that are looking for another platform to sell on. No final value fee. That's good. I like that. That's what Mercari had just gone to. For those of you who were not aware, I had mentioned at the time that happened that I would be curious how long that lasted. And now that they've backpedaled already in less than 60 days on the return policy, my radar is up for what Mercari is doing with the fees. I've noticed, again, I can't speak for anybody else. Everybody's experience is different. Pretty much all of my listings have automatically converted over to the no selling fees thing. So the stuff I've been doing over on Mercari has been fantastic and extra profitable. So that's been all good. I just don't know how long that is going to continue. I hope it continues for a very long time, but I'm not completely convinced that that's going to be the case. You can let me know what you think in the comments down below. Let's see what else we got here. So unless anybody has anything else, I have got still hundreds and hundreds of books in my garage that I need to get listed. So if you'd ever like to do a joint show, I'd be happy to co-host. You'd have to not be in your car. But yeah, absolutely. I'll get in touch with you. I think you sent me a message earlier about some stuff. So yeah, I'll try to reach out and we'll chat about maybe doing a show at some point in the future. With that all being said, if no one has anything else, I, as always, appreciate that you've chosen to spend a little bit of your time here today. If you got something out of this, if you haven't already, please do me a favor and hit that thumbs up button. It helps the old YouTube algorithm know that this is a worthwhile use of their time and budget and my time and budget. I hope everybody has a good week. Remember my new show schedule: Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Monday is the normal Reseller Talk podcast. Wednesday is this live show. And Friday is the messages from the past, readings of postcards and yearbooks and that sort of thing. The new episode for Friday just posted earlier today for members. So if that's your jam, that is available to check out now as well. I'll have you on my channel when I get bigger. You don't have to have a big channel. I had all kinds of people on my channel when I had like 80 subscribers. So feel free. If you want to do a chat, man, just hit me up and we'll put it together. No worries. Thanks so much for doing this. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope this was helpful. Again, if you have questions, feel free to leave them in the comments and I will try to answer them there as well. But hopefully this walkthrough was helpful for some of you that are in that situation where you've got customers making multiple item purchases and you're having to go in there and manually do all those refunds for shipping. With that, I hope everybody has a good week and we will see you next week. You have been listening to the Galaxy CDs Rocks and Flips Reseller Talk podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we will catch you again next time.